Hello, welcome to Film at 11. My name is Joshua Zeiber, editor of the Video File Home Theater blog, and this is my 11-year-old son, Joseph.
Hi.
This is the podcast where I, a longtime film critic, introduce my sons to famous movies they've never seen before. Normally in this podcast, I'll choose a movie that I have seen before and perhaps am very familiar with. This week, however, we're changing it up a little bit, and we're going to pick a movie that I've in fact never seen before. Released in 1993, I was 19 years old when this came out and probably thought of myself a little too old for it. But I've heard good things, and I think it's going to be right in Joseph's wheelhouse. So this week, we are going to watch The Sandlot.
Nice.
Joseph here has played some Little League Baseball, and I think this is a movie about growing up and baseball and friendship, and it seems like something he'd enjoy. Do you agree, Joseph?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Dog.
Then we're going to start it up, and we'll see how we both react to this for the very first time. Hi, we're back from just watching The Sandlot, and as I mentioned at the start, this was both Joseph and my first time watching this movie. And Joseph, so, did you like the movie?
Yes.
Okay. I asked you when we started to think of three observations that you had, and so I saw you take some notes, so why don't you go over those?
So one thing that I noticed was that the teammates they weren't very supportive of each other, especially in the beginning. Like when that kid threw the ball over the fence in the beginning, they were kind of like, "Come on, man," and like they were not very happy with him.
Right. Yeah, especially at the beginning
Yeah.
when he first interacted with them. Some of them were actually just downright mean to him.
Yeah.
They were making fun of him for not being able to throw the ball or
Yeah.
catch, and they were very skeptical about Benny inviting him to join the team. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's your next one?
I noticed that everything is kind of a little bit exaggerated to like a fifth grade perspective.
That's right. Now, as a fifth grader, does the world seem like that to you sometimes, or everything seems exaggerated?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. So, like, as an example in the movie, what do you have?
The Beast, where it was just like a dog.
Yeah, that was a very comically exaggerated
Yeah.
storyline, and it got pretty goofy at the end, where
Yeah.
the dog, they thought the dog was eating kids and was big enough to just swallow all their construction toys and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I noticed that there are some discriminatory jokes towards women in the throughout the movie that
Good
are
catch.
outdated. No.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I had written that down to talk to you about as well. So, do you have a specific example?
The one where they were going like back and forth insulting each other, and then the guy said, "You play ball like a girl."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, two things about that. One, this movie was made in the 1990s, which was 30 years ago at this point, which, is far enough along. But I think even at that point, it was known that you should not be.
Yeah.
That's an insult that's not acceptable. But the story is set even further back in time in the 1950s. So I think some of that just reflects the attitudes of the era in which the story is set.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. And one thing that I wanted to just say is, don't ever kiss a girl without her permission. That's not cool. And the movie kind of made a joke of that, and it said that the girl, the lifeguard girl, actually, respected the kid for doing it, for having the courage to do that. And then at the end, we're told that they got married later and had
Yeah.
a whole bunch of kids. And that was funny and all, but still, don't kiss a girl without her
I know.
permission. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Joseph, here's my question for you: is what would you say is the theme or message of this movie, or at least one of them, for you?
Well, I noticed that it was kind of like friendship.
Friendship.
Yeah.
How so?
Like when they were friends, because they were friends.
The theme is friendship when they made friends. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's about, yeah, definitely about friendship. That's the major overriding thing in the movie, and about how difficult it can be to make friends, especially for a kid who's kind of shy
Yeah.
and introverted, and he didn't feel like he fit in with the rest of them at first. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I agree. So, from my parents' perspective, the for me the overriding message of the movie was definitely don't touch daddy's stuff.
Yeah.
Don't ever touch daddy's stuff.
Yeah.
You're just gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but the mom said to get in trouble.
I know, and I'm just kidding, but yeah. How did you feel about the relationship that Scotty had with his stepdad there?
I thought it definitely could have been a little better.
Definitely, yeah. The father was, I wouldn't say he's mean to the kid, but he was definitely
Like distant.
distant. Yes, an excellent word for that. Distant, standoffish. He just I don't think he understood how to relate to a kid.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of trouble with that, and he kept saying he'd teach him to play catch, and then he just kept putting it off and never finding time for it. And that can be a thing that happens with between not just step parents, but sometimes parents and kids. I hope that we do a little better in that respect.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a thing, and it was something that both of them had to overcome. At the end, the father finally did connect with Scotty.
Yeah.
But it took work on both their parts to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. In addition to some of the sexism, the jokes about girls and the kissing, some other things from a parent's perspective that I'm just going to point out. One is the chewing tobacco scene.
Yeah.
Do you understand what chewing tobacco is?
Basically smoking.
Yeah, it's the tobacco is what's in a cigarette, and there's a chewing form of that, and again, that's not something that kids should be doing, definitely. I mean, it's not something grown-ups should be doing, frankly. But and you'll notice that in the movie they learned a lesson from that, and that it made them very sick. But yeah, don't do chewing tobacco. It's really bad for you. Also, the other thing that I wanted to say is that, one theme that I picked up on is that the kids had the same trouble with the neighbor that Scotty had with joining the team in the first place, that he was afraid to join them. He was nervous about it. He had these ideas in his head about what they were like and and how he wouldn't fit in. And the kids had the same misconceptions about the neighbor when it turned out he was a perfectly nice guy.
Yeah.
And if they had ever just knocked on the door and asked him to help him get a ball back, he would have. But they never did. They were afraid of that. So the lesson there for them was just to, not to make assumptions about people.
Yeah.
When there was really no reason to ever be afraid of him in the first place. And even the dog, which they had built up in their minds to be such a scary monster, was a sweet dog.
Yeah.
The dog
He was my favorite character.
Yeah, the dog was just really, once she learned that they were friendly, she was perfectly nice to them. Okay. Speaking of the neighbor there, I don't know if you recognize the actor. I don't know if you've seen anything with him in where you've seen his face, but did you recognize his voice? Did it sound at all familiar to you? Not really?
Well, I don't know if this is correct. I thought maybe he kind of sounded like the old person from Up. I don't know.
Okay. It isn't. No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a line of dialogue that he's very famous for saying.
What?
Luke,
Oh.
I am your father.
It's that guy.
It's Darth. Yes, the actor's name is James Earl Jones, and he's very famous for doing the voice of Darth Vader. He's also, at this point, was quite famous for doing another baseball movie called Field of Dreams, which you may watch sometime, and we could even watch together at some point. But yes, so he was a pretty famous actor, and the revelation at the end that that's who it was, and that he had all this baseball memorabilia and everything, for a lot of viewers, tied in with his very famous role in that other baseball movie. As we mentioned, some of the humor was very silly and exaggerated, and like you said, a fifth grade style. Did you have a favorite bit of that? Did you feel any of it was too silly, or did you enjoy it?
I liked it.
Okay. What was your favorite part?
I liked the chase, but I also liked the pool scene.
Okay, great. Were there any parts that you didn't like? It's okay if you say no. I'm just curious.
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, I just had mentioned that this movie came out at a time when I was a little older than you, and at the time I felt like, oh, that's a kids movie, and I was too old for it. But I gotta say, looking at it, and especially as a parent, it's a very fun movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. You agree?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that has been our review of The Sandlot. If you enjoyed this content, like, share, subscribe, and if you have any recommendations for other movies that maybe Joseph and I should watch together, please put them in the comments. We're open to any suggestions, though we do, here's the rule, no R-rated movies, and there have to be movies that Joseph hasn't seen before, but feel free to suggest, and then I'll weed through them and see which ones you've already seen and which one he hasn't.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe. We hope you enjoyed this. If you want a grown-up take on movies, head over to videophileblog.com. Bye.
Bye.
My name is Joshua Zeiber, editor of the Videophile blog. This is my 11-year-old son, Joseph. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You, out. You, this way.
Hello.